one of the APAC South teams last year. Like I said, major experience, but let's jump on into it. Cthulhu Clubhouse, it's a map that we saw last week from them, but before that, they did not touch this map at all in Stage 3 of last year. So Fury on Clubhouse, we are just getting to know them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, considering that it's been quite a fair bit of a break as well between Stage 3 last year and Stage 1 this year as well, it would be quite a fair bit of a change between how the approach would be. Obviously, the general fatigue could have been the same case as well, but looking over at the bans here, Hibana, DKB, we're looking at the Cade as well. Possibly, look, we have on card 3 usual sort of suspects: Valkyrie, Mira, or Solus. Maybe even Azami to pop in here, but again, Azami has been sort of a bit of a coin toss, really, with her appearance.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's potential for sure. It depends on which way Fury want to pivot. It's going to be that Valkyrie limiting the information. So, look, so far this is kind of what you're expecting at the moment in the current state of the game on a map like Clubhouse, of course, as we jump into round 1. Fury having the defense. I mean, I think the desk had it pretty well in hand. All reality, this should be a very quick map. Fury starting off with the defense. It's a great side for them, regardless of the fact that we haven't seen a huge amount of them, recently on this map. Going up against a team like the Devil Dogs, realistically, we are looking at a pretty accelerated map.
Absolutely so. Also quite nice to see as well, Crit J, a name that was quite prominent during the Operation League as well last year, joining the Fury roster, which is always quite nice to see. But yeah, look, looking at the lineup so far for the defense of Fury, we are staring at what seems like a fairly turtle-sided setup. The Capcan, the Castle is in there, Azami to sort of make things a little bit more fluid for the defense. It's all seeming to be shaping up as a fairly sort of stock standard, nothing too special really there for Devil Dog to try to approach. So this is going to be a fairly straightforward run, I feel, at least for round 1.
I would imagine so. Like Fury coming into this roster, I mean, the big talking point, of course, is that the most recent addition outside of Crit J, of course, those being I9 and BG Man, of course, what they injected to this roster truly spoke volumes. You look at Stage 1, didn't find a single win, then coming to the rest of you, they look like a completely different beast.
Yeah, Fury certainly looking quite solid overall. Well, not unfortunately for BG Man, as the beginning of the round does not particularly sound too great for him. It seems like quite an accelerated push compared to what we've seen from Devil Dog previously.
Yeah, they're going straight in. They're straight down secret stairs, trying to push in through blue. They haven't quite found the opening. Unfortunately, those Vulcan canisters have been a bit of a nuisance, slowing down the push. What a tap from Lycolis, of course. No surprises there with that TCSG in hand. And this is the unfortunate nature of the competition that Devil Dogs find themselves in, pitching him from the back. Dark there on the Azami as well. They have absolutely zero idea. Finds one, but Pokey will trade him out. So Devil Dogs at least getting themselves a foothold into the building. I9 from the corridor shuts him down as well. Cthulhu, what was a bold, ambitious approach to start the round, has been shut down within the first minute.
A bit of a stutter right at the end of those blue stairs as well. Meant basically the ultimate demise for Piomin and the rest of the team. Namesar does try to get any opening for himself, but unfortunately shut down from a long range with a UMP nonetheless. But overall, I gotta say, Fury managed to actually scrape the situation pretty well.
I mean, for how accelerated it was honestly a bit stagnant at points. You look like, yeah, they get down secret. Unfortunately, the Goyo just really ruined their plans that stalled out. The pinch was able to come in. Unfortunately, Dark couldn't line up too. But on the whole, it was a phenomenal response from Fury to answer this Devil Dog aggression in round 1. Basement 1 out. Now we head upstairs. I mean, look, realistically, this is kind of how we expected to go. Maybe a few more losses out of Fury than would have been expected, but I think they held fast, they held their angles, and they won it as we thought they would.
Fury did a pretty decent job. Courtesy for the Cade plays as well, holding off solo and utilizing the Goyo canisters really, really well. Well, not Cade, what am I talking about? It was the Goyo with the TCSG. It's just some reason in my head, the first thing I remember is when I see the TCSG, it's Cade and sort of move on. But regardless, I'm waffling. Going into round number 2. Going into round number 2, the introduction of now Mira for this round does signal for, once again, another turtle-like strat, which feels like Fury just in general not really looking to get any sort of extra proactive, which seems perfectly fine to me, I reckon.
I mean, I was going to say, yeah, a little bit more iconic, the Kai TZSG than the Goya. It's like one that you immediately associate, given that the Vector is more often the Go, but this extension looking to be rather aggressive. And they look at this setup. They've got the coverage for I9. They want to make sure that their highway window is covered so there's no nade play, but already look circumvented. Devil Dog pivot on a dime. They're looking to get themselves that controlled jacuzzi. The wall is going to be popped wide open, so it is a hugely accelerated adaptation on the fly. And it's whether or not Fury can match this adaptation in the round to see whether or not they can hold off the defense.
Exactly that, with BG Man once again getting into trouble fairly early into the round. It's not particularly too ideal. You want to keep the Izami fairly close to heart to let her keep on generating those keeper barriers to be able to keep on reshaping the side even further. Whereas for the rest of the team, it's so far all fairly standard, fairly clinical. You're holding the construction, you're holding the cash room, you staying around the site. It's surprising that we're not really seeing a whole lot of vertical presence from Fury, but given that it is Clubhouse, it doesn't really present a lot of sort of ground floor to the top floor opportunities apart from maybe playing around bar, and even that is considered very much of a almost taboo sort of play. So for the time being, this is all nice. Frag grenades coming out from Nook, though, is going to be the possible signal for what the initial plan could be for him.
Shenji, he's looking for that angle with the nade. Unfortunately, like Hollis in the shower, he's safe for the moment. Deadpool hunting for that information with a push up the stairs. That might be the peak that they're looking for. Shots are out. I9 and Shenji both surviving, but I9 voluntarily winning out in that engagement. But for now, the stall happens once again. Devil Dog's a much slower approach, and this could definitely come back to bite them.
Absolutely. So already less than a minute remaining, and not really a whole lot of good ground really covered. They even have, you know, the Lion to really make that push. They have extra set of frag grenades as well from Deadpool and Pyomin. And whilst those are being continuously used, this is still very much sort of so-so over push. Pokey does get the refrag, but apart from that, nothing really exciting has happened since the last 2.5 minutes.
Big kill following it up onto Dark. I mean, there was so much lingering happening down in Lounge Pokey with that defusing. He's finally make that call, but with 20 seconds left on the clock, they've got to accelerate. Name as it falls. Pushing in through Connos. One in Logi. The ping's there, but I9 wins it. It's a straight trade. In fact, they both clip their heads. Pyoman is jumped into Logi, looking for the pickup on the diffuser, but no, he walks straight past it. They're going to go for the gunfight. BG Man down, like Hollis the last to hold with 7 seconds remaining. They have to force the angle, they have to force the shots, but it's a whiff fest. Unfortunately, though, like Hollis doesn't quite have the ability to contest the gunfight. The Vector, it's great, and all the high fire rate, though, just a little bit punishing in that situation. And, well, Cthulhu, Devil Dogs on the board to tie it up.
That was definitely quite a good run. For Connor, this means that he gets to so far fulfill the dream of a 7-1, at least, in favor of Fury. Whereas I'm starting to actually think that Devil Dog might have actually taken some of the mistakes into account from the first play day, and now taking this in against Fury. Remembering Fury had a fair bit of struggles, even like we've highlighted before in last year. I'm going now with the newest edition of Crit J as well. I'm assuming there will be some frictions here and there, nothing too major, but occasional communications could be, or rather miscommunications could be a thing. Now, Crit J with a shotgun is what I'm looking for, but something that I'll more so just keep in mind for now before I'll make any statements.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting seeing Solus in the middle at the moment, running the ITS shotgun, but also having that pairing of the SMG-11 as a secondary. It almost feels like a linear move from the the smoke and mute that we're used to with the M590 and SMG-11 combo. But some of the information gathering potential is kind of scary, if we're being honest. So there's 4 shotguns in play. No, sorry, 3 shotguns in play. I played myself. The transition of the scene debated me, but I mean, look, 3 shotguns, 3 SMG-11s. That's a lot of power up close and at range, honestly.
That's true. Quite a good combination of that utility. Specifically, I9 on the smoke. The Solus for Crit J would have quite a good variety of ways to play it out. I'm curious about the setup by Pyomin as well. Multiple angles to be held via those OSA shields as well, which would be quite good. The problem being a roaming Crit J from down below will be able to throw a spanner in the works very easily.
Big nade there, removes I9 shield. So top red isn't going to be the stronghold that it could have been with the bulletproof. And Shenja, look at him just lurking his way up from the basement. Has drones in place, flicking through them, looking for the info, wants to clear out bar as well, so just needs a little bit of added security before he pulls that trigger and starts pushing. But yeah, the double shield, the double Talon shield set up out on the balcony outside of CCTV. They want to rip this, they want to pull the trigger and get that breach open, but they're just so uncertain about the viability of this play.
Funniest part about it is that Bandit is not even in play, it's just the mute that is in there. So they're just trying to battle it out, trying to figure where could the next push happen. Problem being is now that Shenja actually decided to opt out from the master bedroom push and now rendezvousing with the rest of the team, is once again they have the possibility of just bunching up together, which it's a double-edged sword that could backfire really badly if Crit J ends up nailing his shots here.
Oh, ships passing in the night. Shenja is about to wrap in to the carriage right now. Unfortunately punished by the D-scope, and Crit J will take one of those problematic operators off the board. The nade from Deadpool, though, a phenomenal answer, as he does take a Lycolis out of the equation. Nitro Cell, M590, SMG11 all off the board, hitting to the final 40. But at a 4 versus 4 with the breach open, this is still possible for the Devil Dogs.
Absolutely so. Look, their trade game so far has been quite commendable as well, so that's worth noting. The problem being is that, once again, it's a case of pushing one by one, which, generally speaking, did not really pan out too well. South Asia has been the prime example of that very case. So, right now, Devil Dog need to make sure that they are nailing their pushes as the last 20 seconds do come up.
Smoke canister there, what a shot from I9, him and Crit J, the SMG11 bandits that they are, will find some big kills. I9 looking to hold down Cash, finds the name as it takes his head clean off, and BG Man will wrap in to kill Pokey as well. Cthulhu Fury, the CCTV defense, works exactly the way they want it to. Unfortunately for the Devil Dogs, timing seems to be that consistent issue.
That 6th defender certainly bringing a whole lot of problems. I9 seeming completely unfazed by all of that, what was happening, really. And I mean, he has all the reasoning to really not be phased. There has been very much by sort of the protocol of a turnout, and with the Azami setups that they had, each and every step on the site that was taken by Devil Dog has been at a severe disadvantage. I mean, even that last kill, you look at that. He jumps in, decides not to swing, he exposes his feet, you shoot him right there, that's it, GG. That's the round also done and dusted. So, damned if you don't do, damned if you don't kind of situation for Devil Dog.
And the wild thing is, they cleared the shield top red. They could have gone for some smoke play to get into the site. It was the fact that they couldn't deal with one of those flanking positions. I mean, you look top red, you look garage, you look even over towards Conan and Cash. They just couldn't figure out how to pivot into one of those positions. The push from Shenja just didn't work at all. But, I mean, look, Cthulhu, we head back down to the basement, which was that hyper-accelerated push from Devil Dogs that was unfortunately stunted by Lycolis and his Goyo. Second time around, I mean, look, they've already made a pivot.
Yeah, good pivot, good turnaround. With Shenji as well opting out of Nook onto Twitch, is looking to deal a little bit more damage to the electronic utility before the actual push commences. And I would imagine this would be a much more de-accelerated push. Good pop, good riddance of the utility. That is huge, huge riddance by Shenja, and that will actually enable now Devil Dog to have a much more confident set of swings, especially when they are going to be opting to push for the blue tunnel.
I mean, Dark in that same position he was in round 1. He dropped down Oil Pit and was able to find one before being traded back out by Pokey once again. So you look at the setup so far, that Hatch in Bar is popped as an escape route, I would imagine, for Fury for I9 more than anything. So it is that pseudo SSG roam of old with the castle barricades, the extension up into the top floor. No mute, so it's not quite the, you know, copy-paste example of what we've seen in the past. But they're playing that roam game. They want to meet Devil Dogs as they enter the build. You can see it. They are up in the face of their opponents, ready and waiting for a fight.
I'm very curious to see how will I9, BG Man, and CritJ be able to play their positions, because CritJ specifically is in the position where, well, first of all, we generally don't really see roaming castle quite a lot of times, and seeing as it's only, well, was like Hollis just before as a sole defender of the site, where the rest of the team was on a roam, it definitely felt quite curious and well, interesting to watch how it could all unveil, especially with them having such a heavy buffer being made of the bar. Well, that could have been a great place to really start working around with, but it's good fluidity so far from Fury in terms of their rotation, in terms of their fallback, default back to the side, reinforce some of the positions. They're ready to receive this attack in any shape and form.
The early call back to the site, the early hunger down, they're setting up that bunker down in the basement that we've come to know. The smoke grenade eaten by an ADS, so unfortunately the cover not going to be there from Shenja. This is last one too. Pureman opens the round with a kill on the dark I9 suit to fall after, courtesy of name is up. Pokey's there as well. It's all coming together for the Devil Dogs, and it does absolutely phenomenally in the fourth. And Cthulhu, look, we are tied up at 2-2, and I'm scared. These darn Americans and their takeover of the Asian League. Brimstone might be right.
Brimstone, in fact, might be right, honestly, with the way how this so far worked out. As long as the pressure can stay up by Devil Dog, they can absolutely rid Fury of the comfort zone. I mean, getting rid of those Goyos as well in the early stages definitely insinuated a little bit less of the confidence, because you now only have to work around the Melusi, which doesn't really per se deal any damage to the attackers once they start pushing. So nothing really prevents the attacker to just ult right in on site. Whereas with Goyos, things get a little bit hotter, a little bit more about the actual health pool, and that's the main reason why it's so effective at deterring those sort of pushes. So Devil Dog read into the setup actually perfectly fine, and in the introduction of, say, Twitch over somebody like Bravo, who has the element of novelty as well, has been perfect too. Certainly shows that whilst Shenja is still unfortunately sitting on a bit of a donut, he was able to contribute a huge part in Devil Dog's success in round number 4.
We head back to bedroom and gym once again, which is where Devil Dog were able to pick up their first round, of course. It was quite hectic in the dying 7 seconds of the round, and came down to Lycolis unfortunately burning the mag and getting caught on the reload. So this time around, hopefully, a little bit more security. Lycolis, he's playing with the 9mm instead on the Frost, so it's going to be a little bit more of a competitive gunfight, I think, this time around. Won't have the issues of just burning through all his ammo in a single mouse click. But as it starts, you can see the line twitch back into play. They are trying to identify where this utility threat is coming from.
Plentiful drone work as well, which has been actually a problem for them back in day 1. So once again, it does show that they are learning off the back of their own mistakes. They're making sure they're as thorough as they can be with the drones. Unfortunately, they do already lose a fair few in the process of that, but there's still one more at least Twitch drone. There's already quite an accelerated push.
They're just straight into Jacuzzi. Well, Shenja, what are you doing, mate? There's one in Logi. He's going to lose that fight, but Pyoman kicked it off pretty well. Pokey pinching in to try and pick up the slack. Do they know that there is a player in Logi? Pyoman for one, traded back. Player stuck in secret, swinging wide. Pokey wins it. And all of a sudden, that smash and grab style that they kicked the first round off with is looking to come together with some success. BG Man, though, the final factor to hold an I9 to 2 new additions last year that made such a significant change for Fury hold fast against this Devil Dog aggression. And unfortunately, Cthulhu, they can't win the site twice.
I gotta say, though, that was still a very valiant effort. That accelerated push up by Shenji as well, that was great. And great to see that they are trying to lean into this aggression even further. They're trying to make sure that they don't let the defense to set themselves up before even the swing happens. Unfortunately, yeah, this also brings the unfortunate circumstances that when you swing, it's sort of a coin toss whether the defenders are already prepared for you or not for that kind of gunfight. So regardless of that, Devil Dog's still doing a pretty good job. At this point, it would be ideal, obviously, for them to push that 3-3 scoreline, and I very much can't see that happen, honestly, Panda. With the way how they've been doing it, Fury has been thoroughly rattled, I reckon, in the first part of the game, at least.
I do have to wonder for coaches of teams like Fury and the rest up in this top league, do rounds like that just infuriate you because you've put all this investment into utility, you got an Echo, you got a Frost, and then all of a sudden they just run to the middle of the site, you win it on gunfights alone, and that's it. So I can imagine there might be a minor source of frustration, but right now, here at the final round of the half, CCTV cash on the cards once again. I reckon you're right. There is the possibility for a 3-3, but Fury have proved that in those clutch situations, they just stand that little bit taller.
In Fury, at least, they have been sort of trained, bathed almost in that sort of almost a ranked-ish play style, remembering the ye old days of I9 being, I believe, still, well, in the early days, part of the Elevator roster. Their whole mention was that their original practice session was just ranked sessions. So, sort of drawing the experience from those days as well. Fury are very much now a well-versed roster. Same now with the introduction of Crit J, who just got rid of Pyoman in a very prompt manner, meaning that, without Sledge, that's a lot of utility plus grenades off the board.
The follow-up kill goes the way of Devil Dogs, though Deadpool not getting out of that safely by any stretch. BG Man covering him from the rafters. They know his position. They're trying to deny any chance of shenanigans with that Gemini replicator. BG Man just wants him to contest. He's begging Deadpool to swing that angle at the moment, but not to be. We rapidly approach the second half of round 6 here. And at a 4-4, the utility is there for the Devil Dogs. Unfortunately, no smokes on Pokey, so they are just going to have to go for that brute force attempt, try and wedge out a couple of these defenders before the executing Shenja might be the one to do it. Caught on the reload, Crit J. Finally some vengeance for Shenja.
Finally, indeed, Shenja getting on board as well with the points. I9 nearly getting the face full of frags as well, but actually opts to back out. BG Man to reply, and so far this has been a bit of a back and forth adventure, I reckon, with Fury still holding steadfast in a 3-3.
BG Man finally getting the confirmation of that kill that he's been waiting for a good 30 seconds. Final minute in play. 3 versus 3 Pokey. Does he have any idea? Shenja lurking in from below. Needs to find the pick, but BG Man, what an angle he has here. If he can find the head, chances are to be clean ripped off. The pre-fires going wide. No mark hit. Pokey runs deep through the site. Do they know? They have no idea. They know now. And that's Diff in the middle of the site. Out of reach for the Devil Dogs Cthulhu. That is absolutely brutal name as it finds his one. Him and Shenja need to find 2 more. Unfortunately, Lycola's going to get aggro up on the breach. Finds one. Almost flicks on for the second. And it's Shenja and BG Man. The 1 versus 1, and Shenja wins it. He spots the pixel, clicks the head, and it's a 3-3 half.
Even the Devil Dog players are very much out of disbelief and absolutely stunned by that sort of performance. But yes, Shenja, when it mattered the most, the man absolutely performed. That was nice, crisp, and solid. 3rd point. Found a 3-3. So far between Devil Dog and Fury, and this is one of those underdog matchups that I think Brimstone just had the perfect hunch about, it seems, given just, how much of a back and forth it has been.
I mean, you look at the Devil Dogs, they opened the Southeast Asian season, losing 7-0 to Elevate. Now they come into the second Playday, they've already gone, infinitely further than they did in Playday 1 against another former APAC South team in Fury. But, I mean, look, it doesn't end there. They transition to the defense, which for a lot of teams is the familiar half. But Cthulhu, are you seeing what I'm seeing on the CCTV defense? 4 Nitro cells in play for Devil Dogs. It is about to get volatile.
Volatile indeed. With the introduction even of Thunderbird as well, the ability to fall back to some of the more core positions would mean for Devil Dog that they, in theory, would have an expanded health pool as well to be able to fall back to. But the problem being, obviously, Fury players are still pretty sharp, so avoiding, first of all, not getting headshot is going to be the main priority, obviously, here for Devil Dog, and well, they might just be able to pull that off. Apart from that, yeah, the quadruple C4 lineup is certainly looking quite rather dangerous on top of already the smoke canisters that Pokey is bringing around. On the side of Fury, though, Panda, we are also looking to get quite explosive, but in a slightly different manner. The Ying plus Monty combination plus the Capitao 2. Oh, man. If that combination works out, this could be an unstoppable train, I reckon.
I mean, this is a bit of an Apex special, in all honesty. The shield play's coming in. Like Colas, he's played a decent amount of it. The Ying, they just seem to love this absolute chaos approach to the site. They've got what looks to be I-9 over towards Highway with the Ying. They've got Crit J as well. There is no one holding rafters. They're just going to blow the breach. Like Hollis is going to get up for free, but the Nitros from below. That's what I think will be the decisive factor in how this round plays out. If they can play the Nitro Cell game, if they can threaten from below, there is every possibility that this attack comes apart at the seams.
Just be the case. But with 1 minute and 45 to go, there's still ample time to really make those rotations and make the correct decisions. No losses either, really, on the board. So it's still a clean 5 versus 5 here between Fury and Devildog, and they have all the location and the positions to do so. I9, though, looking to sow some chaos in the construction, which is going to be one of the key positions to pincer the two positions of the defenders. With such a diminished amount of positions remaining for the defense to play around, this could be dangerous, plus the Goyo canister there.
You've got the toxic canisters, you've got so much utility to try and deny as that plant attempt should be coming. No, it shouldn't be. That's right, it's in the hands of BG Man. It's not like Colas. So it's going to be the shield play with BG Man behind it, the Nitros from below. Shenja opens things up with a pick onto Dark. So there's still the Nitro in play, and they no longer have the frag grenades of the Gemini, and this is where things start to get a bit risky. They do have the cover from the asphyxiating bolts and the cloud cover of the smokes as well. But like Cola's toxic canister, BG Man's going to cut deep into the corner. They've just absolutely foregone it, but BG Man falls to the Nitro Cellar namers, and unfortunately there's so many more. Another one to come. Deadpool throws his out. Critch J, no, he's still alive. The Nitro Cell hasn't gone, but Names is there with the shotgun. It's too little too late. They've got the plant down there in the post, but it's a full wipe onto Fury. And Cthulhu, from a 7-0 dumpstering at the hands of Elevate and Playday 1, they are up 4-3 on Fury.
4-3 on Fury. Look, going into this matchup, if you would have told me that Devildog would be absolutely hammering away at Fury, I wouldn't be believing that. I'll be quite honest, given that, yeah, look, the initial showing by Devildog was definitely not particularly the most ideal one, but this has been great. First of all, two points I have to highlight. One, the Mute Jammer relocation for that run out to be able to suppress the Claymore that was pre-set up there, allowing Shenja for that run out. That's one thing. Phenomenal usage. Something that we actually very rarely see in comp play, especially in APAC. Two, the Thunderbird with the Spas 15. Also a huge rarity, despite being one of those very agile operators with the Bearing 9 as well as a secondary. You have that ability and opportunity to bring the shotgun for whatever close quarters play, which worked out perfectly there for Devildog's defense. So now going into Gym Bedroom, I'm curious if the approach is going to be fairly similar, because with the introduction of Mira, we're looking at a somewhat of I guess a copy of what Fury were bringing in before, but minus the echo, obviously.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I'm beginning to wonder if there was maybe a potential bit of negative and unintentional bias coming through. I mean, your one appearance on Playday 1, you get 7-0'd by Elevate. There's, I think, understandably, a lot of people will sort of write you off after that. But we only got to see 7 rounds of them, so there was only limited information to work with, and it seems that that information for the most part was wrong. Pokey, though, in a bit of trouble. The breach in the CCTV open. I say breach, it was an impact from the Sophia, but Shenja wants to try and fight it. So far, I mean, this is going to be the true test. Was that round a fluke because Fury got over-ambitious, or can they sustain this?
Well, that has been a reoccurring thing, really, for Fury. It's the fact that they have a huge amount of potential. They have a potential for a team to be one of the top, if not the best, APAC team. But unfortunately, it's either certain miscalculations, minuscule one, mind you, as well, that end up falling through for them. Yes, you still have absolutely nuts players like Ainan and Lycolas who just score themselves 2 perfect frags as well, eliminating Shenja, who has been on an absolute roll before. But sometimes they seem to be getting a little bit too over their heads in some of the plays. But this round specifically, looks like it is going to be a very thorough one from them, and they're going to be rewarded for it.
Oh, Piomeni just outright loses against Dark, vaulting into CCTV. That drone could not have come at a better time for Fury, and they've locked down this attack. It's Deadpool and Namers up to try and bring it back. The jump out of the highway, successful for Deadpool, but he's being hunted. He hits the head of Dark with the fadeaway. They go to impress, but unfortunately a punish. The Pro 90 in these clutch situations is such a potent weapon. Namers up as well. Look at a hold fast, but he can't. He's dropped. It's a 1v3. It's going to have to be an ace clutch here, Cthulhu, if they want to bring this back. But Deadpool's going to get up on the doorway there. Ping's coming through. What info does he have? He's too little too late. And no. BG Man will punish the siege timing. Unfortunately baited by the player running around the corner. And Fury equalise at a 4-4.
Slight there misplay. If he had the trigger discipline and not go for the pre-fire, maybe he would have had still the ability to get a drop on the ace. But unfortunately, yeah, that was not the round for Devil Dog to take, which is still all fine and dandy, given that they still let it, even Steven's scoreline. 4-4 is still a workable situation. Matter of fact, this is a huge improvement from what we've seen during day one. So for Devil Dog, it's already a pat on the back for what they've done so far. Apart from that, looking at just the way how they've positioned themselves, it was all still fairly well. It's unfortunately just, yeah, the timing that was not really in their favor. Now, with the reintroduction of the Capcan into the fray, plus the castle, we're looking to take this a little bit more almost passive. Once again, expansion towards the bar is looking to be the choice. What I am curious, though, more is how will Fury be able to circumvent this reinforcement? Because we've already seen Devil Dog basically play around and lean more so towards just going for the garage supply room and then the blue stairs push. Will Fury opt for the same approach, or will it be a very stern take of the bar and then the sort of almost siege by the books kind of deal with them playing around the kitchen hatch rather?
I mean, all indicators are leaning towards that heavy vert roam that was once the meta in Rainbow Six Siege. I mean, look, it's still a viable strategy with the Mutant Mozzie combo, denying that information and a cap can to boot, but a basement defense with that roam this heavy can be punished with a straight hit of the site. There's no Goyo in play, and just the cap can be dealt with, obviously, but Pokey, he's upstairs, and CCTV sees the opening, knows that there's probably going to be pressure coming through rafters as well, so pre-fires will give away the presence of at least this defender, but there is still possibility to meet Fury as they come.
So, round 9 so far being a fairly quiet venture, with already a minute expiring and not particularly seeing a whole lot of action bar the breach into the CCTV. Crit J looking to go on a bit of an adventure, maybe to be in tandem with I9, but I believe actually I9 is on the ground floor. So full take of the ground floor, full default, though, from Devil Dog as the response. And we are looking at a bit more of a pacified play. I say that, though, Pokey and Names are still on the roam, so the moment that read comes around could be rather problematic, but nobody's actually on the top floor, meaning free real estate for Devil Dog to really play around and go for the late flank.
And there's no roam denial, there's no claymores, no nomad, nothing of the sort in play, so Pokey in this position playing that stage hatch could do a lot of damage. Same with Namerza as well. If they're unaware of this positioning, they could well and truly gut the Fury push. But right now, it seems that the call has been made. They're gearing themselves. Oh, Crit J just has an inkling. Something is telling him that there is someone up there waiting to drop down. Maybe a drone in the right place, some information, a noise cue, anything. But right now, they can pull off for the moment. Pokey bides his time. It's Deadpool to kick things off with the Nitro Cell. Namerza follows it up. There we go. The collapse is coming, Cthulhu. They've made the call, but with 47 seconds remaining, Devil Dogs aren't going to overcommit.
Not really, no. They've made their picks. They've made their play. Now they just need to hold steadfast and not really let this slip away from them. Knowing how powerful can Fury even be in the numbers deficit, this could be rather problematic as it's a complete flurry of kills.
Push it in, Dark finds 2 versus 2 with 25 on the clock. This is still workable, but there you go. Pokey, the late round pinch, forces Crit J into the 2 versus 1. He's going to have to hit 2 ripper headshots, and he's got limited time to work with. Clears out the EDD, looking to clear out as much utility as possible. He's playing ring around the Rosie at the moment. Shenju just keeps rotating around the pot. Nay, looking for the player of the bar. He jumps through, and Pokey finds it from the armory door. And Devil Dogs keep their cool, they keep calm under the pressure of Fury's relentless assault, and they hold off for a victory.
5th round Panda. We're getting eerily close here for our first upset in the Southeast Asian League here. And Devil Dog so far doing a pretty decent job. I gotta say that roam had the closer we got to its full realization, the closer we got to how it was building up. Devil Dog had almost like a 2, if not a 3-step plan there. Because if Namesa didn't frag out, or even if he got the frag and then traded out, that's already, the Fury's eyes are off, say, that hatch into the bar, which Pokey was actually originally holding. And that would have allowed, well, 2 different scenarios. Either Pokey continues to just hold and being that menace just by his sheer presence, or drops down, gets the frag, clears out the bar, or slows things down and stagnates the push even further for Fury. So things are looking a little bit dire. Understandably so for Fury. They obviously want to take that pause to get themselves refreshed, because quite a fair bit of a tilt that would be on, well, having the inability to connect multiple rounds in a row for themselves. Despite that initial good start, everything else sort of seems to have fallen apart, and Devil Dog been just doing their due diligence. They've done their homework, Panda.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you look at this roster. Once again, they're going back to CCTV, and it's the same approach. Multiple Nitro cells, 3 M590s in play here, Cthulhu. They've got the Warden this time to try and deal with the shenanigans around the smoke cover that they were looking to utilize with that Captain Tower, but it doesn't seem that Fury are going to be bringing it here. But, I mean, Devil Dogs are 2 rounds away from their first win of the season over a major attendee, Apex South team in Fury.
Absolutely. Well, let's not call it just yet. We've seen plenty of times that teams were fumbling their wins fairly close to the timeline. I'm liking, by the way, the setup of the Goyo canisters. This is a really nice coverage here. And even if, say, the breach does happen, if they do pop them a little bit earlier, that's still a valuable time that is being drained. So this is a really good setup. Fury will need to make sure that they are doing the due diligence. Maybe they need to even start looking to do what actual Devil Dogs did. Reintroduce some of the new operators. Bring in the Twitch, matter of fact. Get rid of those Goyo canisters before even the breach happens. From there on, you have a much easier time, much more room to breathe. And after that, you only need to really well worry about your actual frags and gunfights and the info game, which Fury, at least back in the day, were known to be able to still nail pretty well.
The breach going out and the CCTV player realizes that he needs to move, otherwise he could be in a lot of trouble. But I hope that Fury's memory is prepared. Yeah, I just love it. The Vulcan canister out in the middle of the breach, just sitting there ready to be detonated. First one goes, second one should be soon to follow, which leaves them with just the one remaining. And unfortunately, it's not the greatest of spots to try and deny this breach push, which Fury, I mean, it looks like they might be angling towards. Oh, that's a big bit of info found.
Yeah, with Pierman being forced out of his sneaky position, he needs to be very steadfast on his swing, unfortunately, and not confident enough. Means that problems galore now are going to be in the place. Con being given away is also quite a big ground to really work around, that they need to really ensure that Devil Dog don't really let this slip away. Vertical presence is all good and great. This will now need to be doubled down on if they want to have a successful defense. With a minute to go, there's still plenty of opportunities for Fury to just sneak away another round for themselves.
The 2 Vulcan canisters, I mean, look, they're not in the worst of spots, especially given the point of entry that will likely be the call here, but the Nitro cells, that is where my favorite. Oh, Shenja surely catches Dark on the drone, and that is a pick and a half, equalizing for free. Unfortunately, they won't be able to play for the post plant, but taking Dark out of the equation, that info gathering potential is huge.
That info gathering potential, there's still a Goyo canister in the same position where Fury tried to plant before. Shenja is still active. Pokegon, which does not really instill a whole lot of faith, but it's still a workable position. Shenja just needs to find one more frag and doesn't let it slip away. No. Unfortunately, it fell 2 versus 4 now, makes it a whole lot more possible to be at 5th round for Fury.
Aggressive on highway, spots I9, but he survives. The spray was off. M590 out, whiffs the shot with that as well. Namesa, though, unfortunately, just a series of unfortunate events to close the round, and will give Fury yet another if that SMG-11 spray had been successful, if the shotgun had connected there out onto highway, it might have been a vastly different result with Neymar not having to fight on his own. But unfortunately, that is not the way that the dice land. But Chenja, you got to commend him making that call, going for the aggressive pick. Unfortunately, was punished as he tried to rotate back up by Lycolas. They just unfortunately couldn't get a bead on where these attackers were coming from because it was such a vast net that was spread, which could have been punished, but luckily Fury wasn't.
Yeah, possibly the need to introduce a bit more of the info gathering utility could be great here. Even just a simple as getting a couple of the bulletproof cameras right at the bottom of those staircases would have been a great boon to work with. But regardless, that's something that us more so as spectators rather than the players from our perspective could see a little bit easier than them. For Devil Dog though, they seem to have nailed that comfortable lineup for themselves where they're happy with their roles, they know exactly what they do, they know exactly what they can do as well, and the extent of their abilities.
This could be what I'm saying. Neymar, it's not the MP7 Bandit. It is the shoddy special, the M870 Bandit to come into play. But also the implication of a Bandit trick as well from Devil Dogs. They've got the 4 nitro cells. I mean, they are putting all their eggs in the CCTV basket.
I mean, for all the correct purposes as well. I9.
Oh my.
Looking to get a little bit extra up in the faces of the enemies, but that could be a bit of a rude awakening for him. M870 could still be a very dangerous tool for him to play against, so as long as Neymar can do the due diligence and denying the breach, that would be great. Problem being, with no castle, his position could get exposed very quickly with just a couple of frag grenades.
And Neymar has to be marked here. He has to get the Bandit trick off successfully, otherwise this is going to be hugely chaotic, and he does.
There we go.
That's the first to go. This is a 1-3-1 split. You got Dark down in storage. He's looking to come in through 7. Oh, BG Man. This is the fake out game. Who's better? BG Man's got it in the right position. I think Neymar may have just missed his opportunity. No!
Nope.
Neymar has locked out the breach here, and this 1-3-1 split completely nullified the blitz. Not going to be bursting through the breach. They can't get in because Crit J, he isn't even running the secondary hard breach gadgets. He's off towards Logi. He's now in highway. Where do they try and break this Devil Dog's hold? Because it's come apart at the seams. Oh, no.
No. That was unfortunate there. The moment the attempt to jump in and sprint happened, Crit J, well, managed to finally get the refrag onto Pyomin, but Pyomin managed to land a phenomenal shot. There's still Shenja up and about, really ready to go. Pokey. Panda, this is looking like Devil's Dog's round so far. 6th point would be an absolute huge as well boon for them after a...
the adjust! The adjust from Pokey finds Dark as well. And it looks like Devil Dogs will likely be the ones to move on to map point. I think there might be a time for a name change here. Devil's Dogs, more like the Devil's Advocates coming into this matchup. Fury, the favoured, justifiably, but it seems to have been undone for the most part. BG Man below, Lycolas up at the rafters. BG Man whiffs his opportunity. Is it a Nitro Cellar response? It looks like that might have been the call. EMP out the swing. He's got to push aggressively for the kill. Does. Deadpool down. Neymar, Pokey, and Shenja to hold. Toxic Canisters to swing up. This might be the play. Lycolas. He's found Pokey down to the 2v2. Shenja knows. Shenja has the info, wins his gunfight. Neymar with that M870. Lycolas, come on. He's going to jump. And an absolute pump away into the body. And Cthulhu, the Devil Dogs, are on map point, going from a 7-0 loss in Play Day 1 to potentially taking their first scalp.
Look at how pumped are they as well. This is an exciting timeline for them, and it is an exciting timeline for just SEA in general. Devil Dog showing their true colors, their true performances. This is great. There's obviously a lot of room for improvement, but obviously they can still make it work really nicely. Gotta commend though, Lycolas' push here was a very valiant one. And if not for the fact that I don't think he really expected one to be quite close by right on the breach, he would have actually been able to deal a whole lot more damage. But now Fury been posed at a very problematic position. First of all, match point, so they can't really let this very round slip. But even after this, it's down to overtime. Devil Dogs so far, they need to hold as well as sturdy as they can. Remind me, what was the turnout on the last time we did get to see?
They won it. It was down to 2v1 and Pokey won it from Armory Door. They withstood the onslaught of Fury, pushing down to the basement. Dark got a couple of great kills, but unfortunately, they just lost out on the majority of the gunfights, and the Dark couldn't clutch it out there. But Cthulhu going down to Crit J, you can look at the adaptations that have been made deliberately to try and counter Devil Dog. A Jackal and a Lion in play. They want to find these off-site presences. You saw how detrimental Pokey was the last one. That robe up onto the second floor, pinching in late round. He and Namerza did some huge damage.
Oh yeah. Namerza did a phenomenal job, same as Pokey, same as Shenja. Shenja has been an unspoken hero here that I want to highlight. He has been a phenomenal player, despite, yeah, look, 6-6 is nothing to really scoff at, but when Namerza opening up the scoreline like this, Panda, this is already potentially looking to be the beginning of the collapse here for Fury.
Playday 2, and we could have the upset of the year on the cards. Dark tagged heavy. Crit J in a fight with Namerza does win it, but he loses a significant portion of his health to try and take that kill away from Devil Dogs. And right now you can see just rotations galore. Devil Dogs trying to find some presence to resist, but the call has been made. 3 back down to the basement already. Pokey there as well. So the full call back. The only player looking to contest Pyomin on the mute right now with that M590 on main stairs. They can taste the victory.
And look what Namerza also did with his positioning, his play up above. Look at how far away Fury are still. They still need to clear out so much ground, and because of that alibi, because of how early that contention was, it meant just problems galore. Really, going any further. They need to make sure now that they check out the kitchen, they need to make sure that they check out bar, check out the stairs, possibly even the dining room, the lounge room going towards the blue stairs. There's a plethora of problems that could arise from that. With a minute remaining, Fury still have the opportunity. They are doing their due diligence in the breaches. Shenja will once again have to fall back, and that's another avenue that technically now is in control of Fury. But they yet to make that actual step towards the side, and this is where problems could start compounding.
Min gets the reinforcement off there too. They've got the single secondary hard breach gadget left, but that's so much time that you need to get the church wall open. They haven't even committed to the push. Min the first to fall, and that's unfortunate. BG Man pinch down blue stairs was able to capitalize. Deadpool in trouble. They might have just turned the tide. It's Shenja and Pokey. They were the ones to clutch it last time. Can they do it again? Pokey for one. BG Man falling as well, but it's all chaos. Shenja gets the punch off. He's looking for 2 more, and they might claim the first victory down to the 1v1. Shenja gets it. Devil Dogs get their first win of the Asia season.
Oh my goodness, man. The Shenja is just built differently, man. He's just like that, just able to play around the smoke, get the melee, and then hold his position perfectly fine. For Fury, though, look, their mid-game looked like they were about to lock it all out, and then just calamity happened to them, and that's the only way to really describe this.
I mean, from the depths of, possibly wherever you could be in the competition. 7-0 loss to Elevate in week 1. This unknown entity, the only player that we really have much information on is Deadpool. And even then, he hasn't really played since Summer Cup last year from Ops League. And then to come into week 2 and take the regulation victory against Fury. Devil Dogs have showed up to play, and all of a sudden, there is possibilities that we see this season shaken up.
Oh, absolutely. This will shake this up very thoroughly, Panda. I mean, we're looking at so many just possibilities now from here on out that look, Fury may just be one of the first few teams to be locked out from just the possible qualifiers. The LCQ could be looking a little bit more dangerous now for them, seeing as they will, at least for the time being, get to stick out, I believe, just on the 3rd place, if not lower now. Oh wait, no, Devil Dog actually, I know, Devil Dog just claimed their first 3 points, pardon me.
And it's sort of their second game too, but look, we're only the casters. We've got some guys here to take you back and talk over. Of course, it's Brimstone, CDAPS, and eating crow on the desk.